Be ready for the dictation. Start. Under Section 8 of the Hindu Succession Act 1956, the property of the father who dies intestate devolves on his son in his individual capacity and not as Karta of his own family straw. Section 8 lays down the scheme of succession to the property of a Hindu dying intestate straw. The schedule classified the heirs on whom such property should devolve stock. Those specified in class first took simultaneously to the exclusion of all other heirs stock. A son's son was not mentioned as an heir under class first of the schedule, and therefore he could not get any right in the property of his grandfather under the provision stanza. The right of a son's son in his grandfather's property during the lifetime of his father, which existed under the Hindu law as in force before the Act, was not saved expressly by the Act, and therefore the earlier interpretation of Hindu law giving a right by birth in such property ceased to have effect. Stop. So construed, Section 8 of the Act should be taken as a self-contained provision laying down the scheme of devolution of the property of a Hindu dying intestate stock. Therefore, the property which devolved on a Hindu on the death of his father intestate after the coming into force of the Hindu Succession Act 1956 did not constitute half property consisting of his own branch including his son's stanza. The preamble of the Act states that it was an act to amend and codify the law relating to intestate succession among Hindus. Stop. Therefore, it is not possible when the schedule indicates heirs in class first and only includes son and does not include son's son but does include son of a predeceased son to say that when son inherits the property in the situation contemplated by Section 8, he takes it as Karta of his own undivided family stanza. The Act makes it clear by Section 4 that one should look to the Act in case of doubt and not to the pre-existing Hindu law. Stop. It would be difficult to hold today that the property which devolved on a Hindu under Section 10 of the Act would be HUF in his hand vis-a-vis his own son. That would amount to creating two classes among the heirs mentioned in class first, the male heirs in whose hands it will be joint Hindu family property, and vis-a-vis sons and female heirs with respect to whom no such concept could be applied or contemplated. Stanza. Under the Hindu law of the property of a male Hindu devolved on his death on his sons and the grandsons, as the grandsons also have an interest in the property. Stop. However, by reason of Section 8 of the Act, the son's son gets excluded and the son alone inherits the property to the exclusion of his son. Stop. As the effect of Section 8 was directly derogatory of the law established according to Hindu law, the statutory provisions must prevail in view of the unequivocal intention in the statute itself expressed in Section 4(1), which says that to the extent to which provisions have been made in the Act, those provisions shall override the established provisions in the texts of Hindu law. Stanza. The intention to depart from the pre-existing Hindu law was again made clear by Section 19 of the Hindu Succession Act, which stated that if two or more heirs succeed together to the property of an intestate, they should take the property as tenants in common and not as joint tenants, and according to the Hindu law as obtained prior to Hindu Succession Act, two or more sons succeeding to their father's property took a joint tenants and not tenants in common stock. The Act, however, has chosen to provide expressly that they should take as tenants in common stock. Accordingly, the property which devolved upon heirs mentioned in class 1st of the schedule under section 8 constituted the absolute properties, and his sons have no right by birth in such properties. Full stop. Over.